welcome to What the Heck's, your source for Warhammer Underworlds in under 30 deck and warband combinations that you would never have considered except for Zach made you, so thanks, man. I'm your co-host, Davy, and here's my equally disgruntled co-host, Phil. How are you doing, Phil?
I wouldn't say equally, but certainly disgruntled.
Yep. All right, fair enough. Spoilers. But we'll get to that in a second. We are recording, for your reference, on the 20th of January, 2026. We have still no new information regarding what may or may not be coming up. Our topic for today is, as promised from last episode, we are doing a randomized deck and warband pairing. We've relied on Zach to do something he did back in first edition, which is randomize warband and then randomize a deck pairing to assign us something. And then you and I each got assigned a combination. We had to build decks out of that. And then we did actually play them against each other. But that was not the only requirement, and we'll get into that. But before we talk about that subject, we're going to do community shout-outs. Phil, you got anything you want to shout out?
Well, conveniently, and we didn't plan this, but over on Staggerers blog, they just posted up a article, I guess it was about a week ago now, to say, hey, have you been playing the same thing over and over and over again? Or have you been playing an opponent who's been just kind of playing the meta thing over and over again? How about some challenge decks to get you to play something weird, wacky, and fun just to change things up? And it was like, man, that's like just what we did. So yeah, they've got an article up. They've got some pre-built decks that you can go check out to try something very weird, very different, and just get out of your comfort zone, because in some ways that can actually make for some really entertaining games where you're like, how am I going to make this work? Which is, like we said, what we're going to be talking about in this episode. So
yeah,
nice little segue there.
Yeah, absolutely. I am going to actually, kind of on that topic, is a series that I have restarted for the third time, and we'll see how far it goes. But Hexodus, and then there's starting Hexodus, and that would be Jake over at Goonhammer. We're doing in partnership here, he and I, where we are marching our way through Warbands, and our first entries from that. We're trying to do that in tandem for now. We'll see how long before I just collapse and he carries on valiantly without me. But our first entry is in, and we each did a segment about Sirenized Razors. So you can read about our experiences trying out Sirenized Razors. And again, like an attempt to hey, let's just explore something that we haven't done before. So yeah, there is that. And then if there's someone you haven't heard from in a long time, that might be Underworlds Underground. They have actually 2 episodes out. One is a completely comprehensive coverage of the World Championships of Warhammer. Yep. You get in, get set up for the long haul, get comfortable, get your custom popcorn bucket, because it's going to take a while to get yourself through that episode. And then one about corn. Sure. Why not? Yeah. But it's really good to have those dudes back. I really enjoy listening to them. I like I like the attitude they take towards the game, and I hope they continue to drop episodes, and I will do everything I can behind the scenes to nudge them towards continue to record. But
absolutely. Anything to have more content creators doing stuff in this space, and getting to topics that we were planning to cover before we do. And
but given all that, unless you got anything else, Phil, I think we're going to jump into it. What do you say?
Hey, let's do it.
All right. So our main topic for today is to cover the 2 warbands that we got randomly generated with the decks that we got generated for. And like you, we had to find out randomly from our co-hosts, and we're going to cut away to Phil and Zach generating those for us and having a little bit of commentary for it. Neither you nor I have heard this, and after the listeners have heard it, we still won't have. So we're going to be, you may hear them utterly predicting all the things that we're about to say, but we won't know it. So hopefully that makes for good listening, or I'll edit it to be awesome listening. Who can say? We'll be back with you in a second.
All right. If you're hearing our voices, and by our voices, I mean Zach, say hi.
Hi.
And mine, this is Skyler here. We are being plugged in to an episode to kick it off. So we're going to be spinning the wheels of destiny here to figure out who you've probably already heard talking, who they're going to get saddled with from a pick standpoint for a deck and a warband. And this is kind of a tradition at this point, I'll say. Not like a long-standing or well-seen tradition, especially in version 2. But towards the end of version 1, Zach, was getting into the game and was like, I just want to explore the game. And was created a warband wheel. So back when it was like you grab one warband and one deck, they would end league night by picking what they would have to build for next week. And so they'd roll, get warband, roll, get a deck. And that was marvelous. And we're looking to kind of like channel that energy here. But this is Zach's mad science, if you will. So we'll let him perform the mad sciences.
Yeah, for sure. I was excited that somebody brought up bringing it back for version 2 here. I'm looking forward to finding some good combinations I hadn't thought of, similar to what I found with like Spike Claw and Passive Prophecy last edition, and hopefully not so much Morg with Rhyme Worm.
Oh boy. Yeah. Was that wasn't the worst thing I had to build on the on What the Decks? But
no, I was responsible for the worst thing
there,
though too. So
yeah.
Oops.
You're good for finding hidden gems. You're good for confirming kill something that shouldn't be brought to life.
Yeah. Listen, you got to try things, otherwise you'll never know.
Agree.
All right.
Okay. So
I've got it pulled up here. We're doing the Rivals
Perfect.
decks first here. Are we doing Phil or Davy first?
Let's do Phil first.
All right, Phil. First Rivals deck is Hunting Grounds.
Off to a good start.
The lesser explored the new ones, though.
Yeah, definitely exploration to occur here for sure.
Yeah. All right, and that will be paired with round and round and round it goes. Edge of the Knife.
Interesting.
Okay.
All right. So let's take a break real quick. So before we even know what warband is going to be paired with this, the general hypothesis around Hunting Grounds is if it's across the table from you, you might just be able to outscore it by not entering their territory, because a lot of Hunting Grounds scoring is keyed off of your fighters being in enemy territory. You as the opponent, you've got to be in that Hunting Grounds territory. So if you want to turn off a lot of Hunting Grounds scoring, then just stay home. But the thing is like, will you be able to score enough? And I think with this amalgamation of pairings that we're preparing for Phil and Davy here, we might find out that whatever Davy's given might force him into that Hunting Grounds territory and help, add value to what Phil's going to have to do here.
Yeah, the interesting part here is with the Edge of the Knife on the other side, that's a lot about kind of getting in and throwing out a little bit of damage across the field from you, so you can get that Trial of the Tempered.
Well, and one of the things that I think has been not talked about enough or explored enough, and I'm guilty of this as well. So maybe there's actually no conversation to be had here, and it's just me thinking that there is. But if you're running Hunting Grounds, nothing says that you have to stay home. No. So I tend to think that like this deck is criminally underexplored, because no matter what you pair it with, you can leave. It's just when they come into the territory, which most pairings force them into enemy territory for something. But when they enter, you have to like be ready to like capitalize on it. So it's like as long as you leave somebody home or you're able to pivot back home and take advantage of hunting grounds, I think there's more to be explored yet. But
yeah,
it's also that card timing thing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. No, with this pairing, I think we'll see what Davy gets paired with on the other side. For Phil, though, the strategy might be a quick, like, get in, throw some damage on, and get back, and let some of your passive stuff get set up, and then force Davy to come in to score some of the rest of his deck.
Yeah, and like, man, if Phil gets something like Thorns right now, he's almost all the way there towards something like Trial of the Tempered from his side of the battlefield. But if he gets, like a 4/5 fighter warband with, 3-4 health fighters, that's going to be a completely different looking picture for him on how to puzzle this out.
Yeah. Well, in that regard, you want to see what he gets for a warband here?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Spinning the wheel of warbands. And Skittershank's Claw Pack.
Okay. Huh. So I'm going to pull their stats up real quick because I'm wondering how they're going to do towards that Trial of the Tempered as like a initial proposition. I think they're overly healthy. For
3
that.
4s and 2 2s. So you got two of them that start.
You do have 2 2s. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The 2 little ones start at 2 health.
At 2 each. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is a warband that wants to go for the enemy leader, and they want to leave their territory for sure to accomplish that goal for the most part, because they've got all the diving tools that they need and the speed to do so. Okay. I'm very curious. What's your read on like how they're going to handle the hunting grounds part of the pairing, especially?
I think the play for them hunting grounds wise is to try and get out to a lead. Maybe get an early kill or two to kind of force engagement back into the other territory, back into their own territory, and then just kind of like blink away at some of the easy stuff in hunting grounds once the opponent's in your territory.
Because the thing is, if you can force enough bounty gap or difference, right? So you're collecting bounty through their ability to go get those key kills, and you're collecting a few surges or things from Edge of the Knife. Like the more bounty you get ahead of them, the more likely they're going to have to enter that hunting grounds territory, and you're going to hopefully then be able to capitalize on what you've included from that side.
I think your goal is to keep the kind of aggro game plan pressure on to force some movement back from your opponent or from Davey here to try to score. Just keep up. It's gonna be interesting trying to get Trial of the Tempered with 3-4 health fighters though.
Yeah. There's that tempered swap, right? Where you can swap 2 tempered fighters. What is it, within 4 of each other? I wonder if that makes it in here. It would pretty much have to key off of the upgrade, where you're upgrading like Slink, Sniper, Creep. Or waiting for them to get enough damage on them.
Creep's probably the one. If I was going up against this, Creep would be the one I would probably leave alone to try and block Trial of Tempered, because Slink's super scary to get inspired and just be running around to leave on the table, and Snip to a little bit lesser extent. But
yeah, there isn't in this pairing. Is there plus damage? I'd have to actually look.
That's a great question. There's Cleave, which is nice. Killing Blow. So if damaged fighters or against damaged fighters, you can get Grievous.
Ooh, okay. And they've got enough range where they can kind of ping that first one and come in and follow it up. Okay, that'll be included for sure.
Yeah,
and if there was going to be a deck that kind of had to rely on, minimum chance for extra damage, then Phil has been running Hexbane Hunters. So he's got some practice with like having to slowly chew through opponents. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, should we see what the other side of the table looks like?
Yeah, let's get that rolling up here. Once again, do the decks first. And spin up the first one. The other new one, Deadly Synergy.
Okay.
All right, and the second one.
Pillage and Plunder.
Emberstone
Sentinels. Okay,
yeah.
I like that. I immediately think that Phil was handed, two lesser picks, and decks providing lesser options, or fewer options, right? I think he was handed two decks like that, whereas Davy's been handed two decks that are like heavily taken decks with heavily available options in them. So
I don't know if I've seen them
like
together though, which will be the interesting part.
Yeah. Like if you had said Deadly Synergies and then been like, oh, and Blazing Assault, it's like, okay, well, I mean,
yeah.
sorry, Phil.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've seen this pairing at all yet in person. I don't even think I've seen it just conceptually.
Yeah,
So.
usually I like Emberstone with like smaller warbands, so some more elite warbands, and Deadly's usually kind of the inverse on that. So I guess we'll see how this turns out. I guess we should spin up a warband first before we speculate too much.
Yeah, it's really going to steer speculation here.
Yeah, and we went for a more elite warband, Kurnoth's Heralds for Davy.
Oh, interesting. Okay, wow.
I like the Emberstone part for them for sure. I don't know about the Deadly Synergy for them.
So that's the awkward challenge and like interesting piece to explore here is like Phil's got these two decks that are on the lesser side, that he's putting together and trying to make work. But I feel like he's got a strong and flexible warband that can kind of fit into those game plans. Whereas here, they don't. I mean, like the biggest thing they're going to get from Deadly Synergies is when they get down to one, like one fighter, and then they're considered, whatever the keyword is. Help me out.
United.
Yep. So that'll be nice for them.
Yeah,
they are. I'm remembering that correct, right?
Yep.
Last one's United.
The last fighters automatically United. Phil's potential game plan of going in and getting a quick kill will be seemingly pretty good here against the weak defenses on the Heralds and the 3 bounty on the leader, which they already want to go for anyway. So that'll certainly help there with the lesser deck pairing, as you've got some good kill bounty you can pick up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious how many games these two are going to be able to jam. They've got, at the time of recording, to get this out to you, dear listeners, they have about a week and a half to like get games in and like get this episode edited and out to you on the airwaves. So, if they can do 2-3 games, like that's extreme feat. Like this might just be the battle of the one-off and like seeing how this goes. But man, I kind of hope that they're able to squeeze a second game in. I'd be really curious to see like what they learn after that first game against each other and what a second game looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as far as what are we thinking about what Davy's plan is going to be here for this? You think he's knowing that he's going against Hunting Ground? Does he just sit back and set up the attacks if they're there for United, and then just score the Emberstone cards? Is that the kind of the game plan you think for him?
I'm realizing that something that we should do for this experiment is after we're done recording here, let's privately message them what their pairings are, and let that be a surprise in the moment, because otherwise it could temper how they build. Like knowing that they're going to be up against a specific warband, a specific deck, that can totally steer your pairing. Because if Davy's going into this blind, that's going to be the question, right? Immediately he's going to start thinking like, do I just stay home? And, he does get the home field advantage with Kurnoth's from a surrounded standpoint. So I don't know how much that was going to come up here, flanked standpoint.
Yeah. Phil's going to know where he wants to stand, so Phil might be able to set up some flanking. In theory, obviously that won't work, but in theory he could.
I mean, he's gonna. I think I lean into like any Emberstone scoring that I can score on my side, and any like defensive positioning I can like start to accomplish. Because I'm going to try to tuck my leader away as best as possible. So I think everything that he's going to hear signaled to him on the other side of the table. Skittershank, okay, he's coming for me. I got to play it careful over here. Hunting grounds, okay, I really got to stay away. And so like, what scraps can I pick up over here? The nice thing is, if Phil wants to start canceling some of that Emberstone scoring, it'll open up closed down for Davy, where Phil ends up on an objective to help block off treasure scoring for him, but then opens up closed down for him. So it's going to depend on what's in hand in that moment. But that push and pull is there within the pairing.
Yeah, and I wonder if Davy doesn't kind of sit back on tokens, wait a second, and then come in with Lenwith trying to get some of the united attacks that don't need to be melee. So like outmuscle, I think, doesn't need to be melee. Just kind of threaten that the whole time. Yeah.
Titan of Combat is going to be like the best upgrade that Davy has. Yeah. Yep. With their accuracy, like tossing down Titan of Combat means that they might be able to come in and like completely pick apart their fighter of choice. And that's going to obviously help score outmuscle there as well. Once again, do we have plus damage? Yeah, we do. That exists in Emberstone, right?
Yeah, great strengths in Emberstone.
Okay, bear with me. I am immensely tired.
Yeah, so that'll let Cullen come in and maybe one shot some of those scary rats.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I think these are going to be fast games as well. And they're going to be the type of games where like the moment somebody gets a foothold in on the other opponent's like key fighters, you can see the match fall apart quick for the other side. Yeah. It's been,
for sure.
Very much so who can land those critical attacks early or the first to do so.
Yeah. Any predictions?
Good questions.
Trying to think who I would favor in this.
I think I favor the Heralds.
Yeah, I think I would. I think just from a deck perspective, that's probably true.
I think the power package in Emberstone is really going to help fortify like their defenses to keep them alive, as well as shore up their offense to pick apart Skittershank here. So I'm marking Phil as the underdog going into this.
Yep. You hear that, Phil? You get to win tiebreaker on the opening roll-off.
Should we add that?
That'd be funny.
I like it. We'll see. We'll toss it their way. See if they run with it. Yeah, they can play with it if they want.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I think that's enough preamble. Anything more that you want to include before we pass it off back to the pilots?
No, I don't, not too much. I'm just excited to bring back the random pairings here.
Yeah, I'm immediately pleased with how satisfying it is to start trying to think of how that pairing is going to work out, and how you're going to be able to lean into the warband strengths as well. Like we rolled, deadly synergies and Emberstone right there, and I wasn't immediately like, oh, it doesn't matter who you roll. Like this deck's going to be solid. And it was like, no, that's going to inform this hell of a lot.
It's going to matter a lot. What warband you get with that pairing for sure.
Yeah. So okay, well. That was the Wheel of Destiny, and this now is back to your pilots.
Well, welcome back. You're back with Phil and I, and just like us, you learned on the fly what our pairings were. And Phil, when you first learned what your pairing was, first of all, the listeners already know because they just heard Skyler and Zach describe it, but for you and I, what did you end up with, and what were your first thoughts when you received it?
So I ended up with the wonderful choice of having Skittershank's Claw Pack combined with Edge of the Knife and Hunting Grounds.
Ooh. I mean, how could you be better prepared than having just recorded an episode about it? So
it was actually convenient in that sense because it did force me to play Hunting Grounds. Yeah, I believe that I sent you a meme immediately that said, "Thanks, I hate it."
And I sent you the woman going, "No, maybe, no,
no."
But honestly, I think I've been told, and listeners will probably know this, but I think Skyler and Zach declared you the underdog in this. They thought I got the better pairing, and I think I would agree. I ended up with Kurnoth's Heralds, and my combination was Deadly Synergy and Emberstone Sentinels, a pairing that in and of itself is like a little awkward, but like both sides are fairly strong.
Yeah.
And so it's not something that I would have naturally chosen, but it was interesting to build. And so I think what we're going to do is talk a little bit about our thought process on our build right now. And then we'll talk experiences with it and go from there. So how about I'll kick it off here.
Sure.
I had to make something I ended up calling Sentinels of the Emberwood, was the best I could do with Emberstone Sentinels and Deadly Synergy. I didn't get Synergy in there, but whatever. And I built a 6 and 6, so 6 surges, 6 end phase, and then a 10 and 10 ploys, 10 upgrades. And I leaned almost right down the middle, I guess right down the middle, as far as I had 6 objectives from Emberstone and 6 from Synergy. As you might imagine, with the amazing power deck in Emberstone, I leaned a lot heavily into Emberstone than I did Synergy for the power deck. So I think 7 out of my 10 ploys were Emberstone, and 7 out of my 10 upgrades were Emberstone. But
makes sense.
Yeah. So what I was looking at right away, I have a warband that would love to like just hang out in their own territory if they can force you to that. And so I was like, I'll take as much as I can to force people to it, which means that I'm going to take Iron Grasp. It means I'm going to take Supremacy. It means I leaned actually a rarity for me, but I ended up taking Hold Treasure 3 or 4, and I guess I didn't end up taking Hold 1 or 2. I almost did. I almost took a 13th objective there. But that was kind of like my baseline. And then assuming that I was just trying to hold treasure anyway, I picked up Close Down, which is the synergy one where if you hold a treasure that was at any time held by the enemy, then it counts for you as well. I just figured like there would be a duplication of effort enough there that it would count enough for me. And I guess looking at this as a whole, like some of the things that helped me in this setup is that despite despite having a warband that had one Lenwith who's a range 3 fighter and a couple real beat sticks, but not a lot of great defense in there. Every single one of them has a super accurate melee attack, right?
Yeah.
And so that means I've got a 4 sword attack available from all of them, and all of those have grapples, so I can try to manipulate position. Not a super big deal, but what it also means is that if you can get the angle on somebody, and if you can get yourself with the ability to be united, then all of a sudden 4 swords when you also have flanked is all of a sudden quite accurate. Yeah. And so in the same sense, that opened up the surge objective helping hand for me, which is, did you make a successful attack and roll a flanked result? Because I was like, listen, that might not even be a six. It might be because immediately after united friendly fighter's successful attack, if the attack contained any flanks, and so if I'm just tossing a handful of dice at you, probably going to get that.
Probably.
And then as soon as I've got that, it means that over in the power deck, I'm probably adding out of nowhere, which is just convert one of your results into a flanked or surrounded. It was fun to see even this kind of hey, this wasn't my first choice. I don't have so many fighters. I'm naturally going to generate a whole lot of united situations. But there's actually some things that are working well for this. So I took a lot of the usual things that you would want in Emberstone, like healing potion or settle in to go on guard, confusion, which I love and has been clutch in almost every game I've ever included it, by the numbers for card draw, all that sort of thing. But then I was also pushed towards anything that would let me be united, even if I couldn't have the positioning, because I knew I wasn't going to be that. So that means Army of 2 went in there. It means Titan of Combat went in there. Because it's hey, I might have to charge away from my cluster of people and just have to be united. So,
or the sort of unfortunate scenario that you probably are going to lose one of your centaurs, and now you've got 2 that are having to try and stick together while wanting to hold, and that's kind of impossible. So, good to have those backup tools.
And one thing they've done on the plot card for Deadly Synergy to make this deck actually a little more available for warbands like this is to say that if you're down to a single fighter, that fighter is by default united. Yeah, and that definitely happened to me in the first game I ran with these guys. So, but it just meant that I didn't immediately have a whole bunch of the deck dead, and I think that must have been when they were testing it. What they discovered was actually a challenge. So. Let's see. I guess there is no restricted currently in Deadly Synergy, so that meant that I could really take Supremacy, which is nice. If you are running Supremacy, gosh, it's really nice to be able to take Battering Ram off of Deadly Synergy. Yeah. Just say you know what? As long as I'm making an attack, I want to make sure that I get to overrun. And so putting Battering Ram in the deck is, I think Battering Ram on its own is just a generally strong card, for denial. I think if you actually care about being on the tokens themselves for your own scoring, then it's a tremendous card. So I know people talk about the numbers being hey, you've already got 4 swords, maybe you'll have a reroll because you staggered somebody with Lenwith's inspired, bow shot or something. You're man, you the one time you really need the crit, you're not going to roll it. And so
just absolutely not.
Yeah. We've talked about it a bunch, but the guarantee, having a guarantee of anything in this game is pretty tremendous. So
very,
I think Phil, you could predict this, but one of the best cards for this warband that comes in this, and when we talked to Guillaume, when we talked to G about this, it came up was the ability to include sharp reflexes, which is an extra defensive die,
more
which
defense.
They're desperately in want of,
except in our match.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll get into that in a little bit. So when it all came to it, I think I came up with a deck that felt generally functional. However, it had the potential to pull me in different directions, so I could have, I did take, let's say aggressive unity, which wants 3 united melee attacks in a round. And in order to do that, it's going to make it really hard to get on treasure tokens, which I want to do because the other half of the deck. So I think at times this objective deck is going to pull you in different directions, but given the pairing I was given, that I was assigned, it felt like I was just gonna have to make the best of it. Same with stuff like unassailable, where like,
with one defense die.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna have to count on hold the line or settle in or brute momentum to like try to lock that in for me. And it also requires my opponent to attack that person. And spoiler alert, a lot of times people didn't because they were not dumb.
Yeah. It's like, you're on guard now?
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah. I don't think I care about that. But it was an interesting, having coming from recently running Thundrix, who are on 3 or 4 health, to all of a sudden have these 5 health fighters and be like, oh, right. Like, I, by definition, I'm going to take multiple hits. And then with the help of Healing Potion or, oh my gosh, what a great card, Defiant Duo.
Yeah.
I am going to actually take even more. Like, I'll heal back up and make sure that doesn't happen. So it felt like here, maybe half to 2/3 of the deck was actually fairly synergistic, and the rest was like, this isn't great. Like it's not meshing together particularly well, but they're independently strong, right? Like,
the card quality is still good. It's just
exactly.
It doesn't fit necessarily with the strategy.
Yes, yeah, same problem you had, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell us about your efforts to build something?
Yeah, so I started by just kind of looking through the Warband and being like, okay, is there really any way that I can leverage this to be able to make it feel better to be using hunting grounds? And I don't really know why I started by approaching it this way, where I was like, well, I have to do something that makes hunting grounds work, when that wasn't really the exercise. The exercise was just build a deck with these 2 pairings. There really isn't anything about Claw Pack that says, hey, this is going to work with hunting grounds. But sort of the things I did key on was I have a built-in push on my War Scroll. So I can push an enemy fighter, but it specifically has to be a leader in enemy territory. But that's kind of okay if I'm trying to do some of the like push you into my territory things.
Yeah.
And then I've got multiple fighters with ranged attacks, so I can like have them kind of be the first ones to move up close to the line and then just take pot shots and try and draw you in.
Yeah.
And then being able to just say, hey, you can't attack my assassins at all. Sort of, it's like, well, if you have ranged attacks, then maybe you're still having to figure something else out with coming to get the little guys. All of that though.
that ability, what is Skittering Blur, is specifically one that, like, when I've imagined running that Warband, which I have not done yet, I'm like, oh man, it feels like it'd be hard to time. Like it feels like you could burn it at a time and they would just do something where they didn't really care about it. But every time I've played against it, I don't know if I've been playing against people who are just like real talented at it or what, where like they'll play it. I'm like, that really sucks. Like that thing I most want to do is attack an assassin right now. Like I think if you can leverage that, man, what a tremendous ability.
I think it's just one of those abilities where it's like, there's never going to be a really horrible time to use it because
that's fair. Yeah.
Your assassin rats really are scary. Like you really don't want to just leave them alone, and being forced into the situation where you have to leave them alone, it's like, well, now I may even have to like sacrifice positioning just to get away from them because they have a guaranteed turn off where they just get to chill.
I mean, not to keep banging the same drum, but like talking guarantees, right? Like if you can guarantee like, hey, I will guarantee that there will not be an attack on, Slink next round. And if it's a fourth action, if it's the final action of the first round, it means like I guarantee that Slink will be able to take an action next round. Like he will not get attacked this and then next and get killed. Even on 2 dodge, which Brian says is invulnerable and you say is not so much.
Yes.
Like again, having the guarantee of like, I know that no matter what happens, unless like there is some crazy, multi-ping sort of situation, I will have this fighter available to me. And I think that's the sort of thing that offers. But whether it works well with hunting grounds or not.
Yeah. So that was sort of the idea was like, okay, we're going to make some of hunting grounds have to work. That's the premise of like, how do you set it up to try and leverage your opponent to have to come to you? Obviously that probably works okay in a lot of matchups where your opponent is a little aggressive.
Yeah.
Into your pairing though, you have zero incentive to come to me. Like it's like, my warband doesn't want me to come to you. My deck doesn't want me to come to you. Like, cool, let's just chill. Like you even have a ranged fighter who can double shot. So it's like, cool. I'll just hang out back here, take a couple shots at your rats, do not move anywhere close to your territory. It's like, oh boy.
after the fact, I looked through and I was like, what is it in my deck that like makes me want to go into enemy territory? And like, I think I felt like I had to take Sally Forth, a surge that wants me to be in enemy territory. And Iron Grasp might be easier in enemy territory, but you can still score it in your own.
Yeah.
But like literally, like the only one as printed that demands that you must be in enemy territory is Sally Forth. If I'm unlucky and both 3 and 4 are in your territory, to push me in there. But it's that same thing like we were talking about. Like you do the math and be like, all right, like, do I need to go into enemy territory? And for you, because you didn't get to pick your pairing, you are hunting grounds, but you're paired. You're paired in where you're like, my other half is not like really stacking the glory like intensely, right? So
no, and it's a nice tee up there. Thank you. If you're talking about sort of building then the objective deck, and again, like I said, I wanted to try and lean more into hunting grounds for this, and in some ways, the surges in hunting grounds are actually decent. Back off, especially with a warband that has a built-in push. It's just surge for pushing an enemy fighter into a different territory with an attack. So like if you can have a way to like maybe pull a fighter closer to the line, and then you have an easy setup to do it. It's nice to have that. Hands off is decent because you're just trying to drive people off of feature tokens, and everybody wants to be on feature tokens right now for the most part. So again, it's like, it seems likely to work. And so, feeling okay about those surges. Have aggressive defender from edge, and aggressive defender is really easy, especially with ranged fighters. So it's like,
100%.
We're getting something built up there. And I kind of made a little bit of a mistake, I think, in that I decided, well, we've got double team, which says make an attack with that where the friendly fighter's attack is successful and it's flanked. Yeah. And you also have no business here, which is similar, but the target has to be in friendly territory. And they can also be surrounded for that one. But either way, it's like, okay, well, these guys want to be making attacks. If I'm going to have to fight in my territory, this shouldn't be that hard to set up situations where like people are adjacent, and then I can get these attacks off. But I think in doing that, I kind of set myself up poorly in that if I can't set up those supported attacks, I've got 2 dead surges, and kind of everything becomes much more difficult after that if you don't have those ones, because then some of these other ones are positional requirements.
I mean, it's an interesting deck building situation where you're like, where you look at a card and you're like, you think, this is generally pretty doable. Are there too many circumstances where this is just like difficult or impossible? That's something away, right? Like how many times is this like straight up not possible? And unfortunately, like against certain matchups, and this is what we talked about with hunting grounds, like there's certain matchups where they're just not going to come to you. And then that,
yeah. So I mean, you have the problem with the hunting grounds, people just not coming to you. And then leaning into this strategy is sort of doubly bad because one, I mean, you happen to have the one warband that can super counter this because in your territory, you just can't be flanked. So then it's like, you're not coming to me and I can't flank you if I'm in your territory.
Yeah.
But then also, people have been running, to counter deadly synergy. There's that upgrade, brawler. Yeah. Which also counters this. So, really, I should have been thinking about that. Not that you would be planning to play against this deck, but like building this deck, I should still think about things normally of like, what are other people running? And there's a lot of people trying to counter deadly synergy. So, in terms of end phases, since I was leaning hunting grounds, pinned was sort of the first pick because it's like, why not? If you're going to like dedicate yourself to that game plan, that card is still really good. Your opponent's going to have to play around it. That's pretty solid. Lead by example is harder when you don't have range attacks, but I think in this warband, lead by example still actually feels fine. Just because you're going to be using your leader to make plenty of attacks. It's just, it has to happen in friendly territory. Just a little tough. There's a upgrade that helps with this where you can give crippling blow to your leader if you really had to, gives him range 2. So like there's ways to play around that. There's some decent scoring. I brought Ready or Not, which was silly. There was almost no reason to do that, but I did it and somehow managed to score it, which was really actually just Davey kind of walked into it.
I mean, the joke is that like, why would I ever try to counterplay Ready or Not? Because nobody in their right mind would include it.
And then I did it.
And so on my last action, you're like, well, you just handed me 2 glory. I was like, what could I have possibly given you? You're like, it's a card called Ready or Not. It's like, oh my God, Skyler is going to eat this up. So,
realized though, because I was thinking about like, this warband is super accurate. There's going to be ways to just put damage on enemy fighters. If I can just get a couple to come fight me, it'll be fine. Well, against the elites, that's really tough because it's saying 2 out of the 3 fighters in their warband have to be in your territory and damaged or next to friendly fighters. So it's like, there's like the super hard edge case where that's basically impossible. I mean, the other cards that I included were Calm Before the Storm from Edge, which was really easy.
I think that's super doable, especially with you with ranged attacks and like accuracy and speed. Like that's there's all kinds of ways.
Pretty nice there. And then I did grab Risky Position because I was basically out of other reasonable choices. And I figured if I just run one of the little rats across the line, he's absolutely capable of picking it up. And I just am realizing right now, looking at the art, Skulk is both pictured and quoted on Risky Position. So,
all right, well then it was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
I mean, I think even that, like you send one of the bigger rats in and they take a single hit, usually a 2 damage thing. You got it's not automatic, but it's a real solid one. Like it's super hard to deny.
Yeah, and if you're playing the more reasonable game plan of being aggressive, Risky Position's kind of automatic, and it's like, the rats are going to go in, and at some point they'll probably be tempered. So, pretty free glory there. I will say before I even go on to anything else, so I did 12 objectives similar to you. I was slightly more in hunting grounds than I was edge. I don't really know why I put myself into that pigeonhole. I was just like, well, I was given hunting grounds. I've got to work with hunting grounds. So I did end up building another version of the deck where I did lean differently. And
Well,
so I can circle back to that later.
Okay, sounds good. We'll talk some about our game in a bit.
Yeah.
Did you? So I know you and I played. For me, that was my second game with the deck and warband. Did you play more than the one, or you just got the one in?
I only got the one. I checked
right.
with our fellow co-hosts, and no one else was available. So
Fair enough. Well, in that case, before we get to our game, I'm going to just touch on the two other games I managed to play. I played one with our resident Exile Dead player, and it was a thing where I showed up for League, and I was doing the math. I was like, oh man, I think I'm about to play Wellner, and I know he's going to be running Exile Dead with one of his preferred pairings with them. So I knew it was going to be like a legit stress test. Because I was not going to be playing against something goof troop or anything. It was going to be like something that he really knew well how to play. And he was running Exile Dead, and his current preferred pairing is Pillage with Rack. And he will probably fight somebody that tells him that he should drop one of those. I think he generally agrees that like Deadly Synergy would be hot fire with those guys, but he's just like kind of exploring the space with the other things.
yeah,
and I think this is really well. There's two things I learned here. One is that read your war scroll, because I somehow like totally forgot what my Inspire condition was, and I think it was because I was running. Because I played against them for the first time at Worlds, and they had to make the attacks in my territory. And somehow my brain was like, yeah, you have to make an attack in enemy territory, but your bonuses are for being, I don't know. It was insane. So basically I was like, well, to Inspire, I have to dive enemy, which was not correct. But also I held on to objectives that kind of forced that. So as I mentioned, aggressive unity is a good objective normally, but not necessarily with this warband, because I don't it's not really playing to my strengths. If I can make them come to me, then cool. But I didn't do that because of my own mistakes, right? And so this was an opening hand that had aggressive unity. It had closed down, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I can do that. And I had aggressive defender, and it felt really hard to throw aggressive defender because it was it's such an automatic surge.
Yeah.
And so what I ended up doing was holding on to that, and it basically told me hey, you got to dive enemy territory. And I missed a very odds on. I think we worked out the thing I needed to do was just drive back, and I think I was a 90% chance to do it. Missed it, and just had the crackback was just catastrophic, where I lost Cullen, and then took huge damage on my boss, who then. I lost his second round start off, so I couldn't healing. But it was just a terrible set of events where all of a sudden I was down to Lenwith as my only fighter, starting with my first activation in round 2. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. Oh no.
That's pretty terrible. For that purpose, I was glad that I'd put a weapon. I decided to put a weapon in specifically for Lenwith. I don't know if that's the right choice, but in this case it was. And I held on till the start of round 3, and then Lenwith went down, and it was over. But this was a thing, and I think we may touch on this again, where looking at the objectives I had, my objectives were telling me dive enemy territory. But the board state was telling me don't do that. And sometimes you got to listen to your objectives, and sometimes you got to listen to board state. And I made the wrong choice. Some of it was just inexperience with the warband. That's just the nature of trying new warbands is what kind of makes the game interesting and glorious is that I didn't immediately know the best way to play these guys.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And I'm pretty sure I made the wrong choice. And at the time, I think I was lamenting this pretty bad luck attack thing. But even if I land that, I'm still fighting a desperate situation where I'm not in a great position. I've played to the Exile Dead strengths rather than the other way around. Although I was from that spot threatening Daintalos. So it was interesting.
Yeah, always good to be threatening Daintalos.
Yeah. But I think I ended up losing that game 21-13. I think at one point I'm up, 9-7 or 11-10 10 or something. I was up by one, and then just collapsed on me, where
just enough to get your hopes up.
Yeah, exactly. Then we played you, and then we'll get into that a little bit later. And then I got to play Jan Willie, skirmish buddy of Val's, and he brought Wormspat. But Jan is coming from not having played for a long time. But I had seen that he'd been playing some in the past week, and so we managed to get a game in. And he was running them with Emberstone and Pillage, I want to say. A really unconventional pairing with those guys.
Interesting.
But sometimes when you're pushing around huge stat blocks, you can do whatever you want. Yeah. But that was a good one where he just had never played against the Heralds, so was kind of learning on the fly, and then I think we both burned through most of our war scrolls really, really quickly, which is kind of fun.
A lot.
Yeah. But you talk about like the strength of some of these objectives. So I think I managed to score the aggressive unity, the 3 united attacks. In my first round, I made 5 attacks from my territory, and I missed them all, which felt real bad. However, 3 of them were melee attacks, which meant that I scored that. And then I had included, which is kind of the novelty of doing this sort of pairing. I've included switch things up, which is a ploy that swaps 2 treasures.
Yeah.
And so he had walked onto a treasure and was like, "Well, I missed him. I wasn't able to overrun onto it, but I am holding one, and so let's just trade that." And now I'm holding one that you held. So now I'll score close down. So I scored 4 glory plus, I think, outside aggressiveness. So I scored 5 glory in the first round for never hitting a single attack, which just kept me in it long enough to get that edge.
That's neat.
Yeah. I think in the end, I don't think I ended up losing a fighter. He might not have either. He might have finally lost one. It was a real low lethality sort of game. But was able to kind of coast ahead to a 15-10. But it's the reason you play this game is like just for those like kind of interesting, unique interactions like that. I
could definitely see Wormspat being able to play the whole game. Like you said, I mean, they just have big stat blocks. They're really tough, hard to shift, damage reduction. It's just like, here's 3 bodies. They're going to stand on these tokens. Do you really want to come and fight me? Septimus is happy to tangle.
Right. Yeah. It was the thing where it's like, well, I definitely can't kill that dude. Like he is, he's too much health there, and like this guy, maybe. I think what helped me was having multiple sources of heal. So I managed to healing potion and Defiant Duo, which meant that I never ended up with 3 wounded. Which meant that he never inspired, so he never got to like get that double defense thing. So, so that was kind of a big deal in that particular matchup.
Nice,
yeah, but
fun stuff.
Yeah, it was really good. We're both learning, and so it was cool to catch up with an old friend. And I told him to say hi to that crowd over there in Europe, and hopefully he does. But yeah. But before that, Phil, you and I played.
Yeah, we had a game.
We did. What were your first thoughts when because we laid our warbands down when you saw what you were facing?
Yeah. As soon as I saw that you had Emberstone, I was like, I'm screwed. I knew that like. There's always the chance that I'm going to get like the hard counter of like the opposing deck doesn't have to really be aggressive in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And have to pull me out of my own territory, which I don't want.
Yeah.
And of course, you've got Emberstone, which is the best deck for that. And So I was trying to immediately think of like, well, maybe you'll still have to come across the line because maybe you're running slow advance, or maybe you're running Sally Forth, and so I figured I'll just play that game plan and just see what I can do and try and keep all the tokens like as close to the line as possible, because I can still push you with my ability on my war scroll.
Yeah.
And there's a card which actually wouldn't have worked, but I was thinking about using Mind Your Step in an illegal way to be able to push you into my territory, but that's not how that card is worded.
I know that works, yeah.
It goes the other way, which is actually a little wild that it does that. But yeah, so, and then I sort of the other thought was like, well, maybe I'll just have to just abandon my deck altogether and just do what these rats normally do and just go kill you.
Yeah. What was funny was when I saw your warband and I saw Skittershank, I was like, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble. Like I'm on a single defense dice with my boss. Like, and I kind of need to do work with, like, I can't do enough work with the other guys because Cullen, great output if he inspires, but range 1. Lenwith, very accurate, but only damage 1. Like Cullen is, or not Cullen, the boss in this matchup is like that range 2, especially inspired, up to Grievous is like just such a big deal. And it's like I can't afford to not use him, but also at the same time, like I can't afford to just give the inspire. So like, Yularen has got to get involved at some point, and I don't know how to do that without just giving you what you want. And then I saw your deck pairing. I was like, oh, all right.
less to worry about.
Yeah. Specifically because I had just played 10 matches. So 20 plus games and then an episode with you on it. I was like, I think I know a thing or two about like what Hunting Grounds can or can't do. And we had talked a ton about like, hey, look, like here's how you deny. And it's like, well, I will just do that. But you mentioned pulling treasures to that midline, and I must have contributed to this because somehow 2 treasures in my territory were right up on the line. And when we did that, I was like, what was I thinking? Like, how did I do that? It was a thing where like I made the matchup harder than it needed to be by contributing that. And I guarantee that I was thinking about something, I was probably looking at aggressive defender in my hand.
Yeah.
Like,
I bet you were.
I want to be able to like make an attack from this treasure onto one of his starting hexes. And instead of thinking about the long-term, like, hey, sure, I'll score 1, but I will make things way, way harder for myself. And I think I did eventually give up. Like you managed to get into my territory, drive me off it into neutral, and score like hands off and back off on the same attack. Yeah. Real rough.
Yeah. That token placement, man. It's important.
Yeah. I know. I think about it all the time where I'll get done set up and like, I wish I thought about this a little bit more because this is not good for me. Like, and I think there are some things that you can, there's some aspects of the game where you can kind of just sort of head scenario them, like work through like, hey, here's how things, but I think for me, I will say, maybe for other people, but for me, the actual act of like putting the tokens down is kind of like there's no substitute for just doing it, So.
Yeah. I not actually at all in this edition, which is maybe silly, but in previous editions when we were prepping for Adepticon, I would actually sit down, lay out boards ways that I knew I loved having the boards configured, and then the way that I wanted them the absolute least. And then I would just place down tokens and be like, if I go here and my opponent goes here, then what happens? And just figure out like, okay, well, I know if I'm in my bad orientation and I put this here, I know I can at least guarantee that I get, 2 of these or whatever that I need, because there's only so many places the tokens can go. And you can actually math it out. Brian and Skyler both hit on the new board having the spot where like if you place the token, I guess it's 2 back from the middle line, you can completely deny the entire back like row of your opponent's spots. Then they can't have any really far back tokens. So it's like if you have first placement and they're going to hold right there in the middle of that board, and then
100%. And
Yeah.
I think I felt more impetus to try the practicing in first edition with this, but just because there were so many more configurations that could happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas I was like, oh man, like there's so many more possibilities. And in second edition, I'm like, I can figure it out. There's not that many possibilities. But here's the thing: is like all that really means is that like a less significant investment in time will reap greater rewards, right?
Yeah.
Like as you, and I can see it. I did see it at Worlds where my opponents were like, this is exactly the board I want to present you with. And I'd look at it and be like, yep, that is awful for me. And I wish you hadn't picked that. To the extent that I saw the same board over and over again, because there's one that was specifically like not good for my warband and pairing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But anyway, other than like a hiccup on this setup, I think I ended up in a pretty good situation where I know from your perspective, I think you were feeling like behind the eight ball like pretty early, but from mine, I was like, at some point, I am going to have to commit Ilarin, and then it's game on because he will just smoke Ilarin. Yeah. But the trick is commit Ilarin and then just make sure the guy across from you never rolls any successes when attacking that guy.
It is a valid strategy. Sometimes if that's what you have to do, just make sure your opponent doesn't roll any successes.
Yep. So yes, that is what happened. Is like our leaders kind of came together close to the end of the first round. You missed, and then I think you might have kicked things off in the next round, and then missed again. And
sure did.
And I was off to the races. I will say one of the fun things about doing this sort of thing, where you have unexpected pairings, is that you having Edge of the Knife meant. What is the control card that exists in Edge of the Knife? Hands out a move token.
Spiteful Traps.
Spiteful Traps. You said Spiteful Traps in my head. I was like, sure, I'll take a damage. And you're like, no.
Move token.
There's a move token on your most significant fighter here. And I was like, oh boy, that is
real bad.
Real problematic for me. I think I was even like in the situation and I don't remember if I did this, but I think I was like, he's standing next to Cullen. I might confusion him to a more central spot just so he has more options, like like I love confusion so much, and there's so many great things you do with it, and I was like, I might burn it like real early in the round just for that. So yeah.
So just very quick, just fun tangent that makes me actually kind of want to play this pairing a little more.
Okay.
Is that this pairing gives you the 2 power cards that give out move tokens. You get both Poor Footing and Spiteful Traps.
And a third if you're willing to take that weapon, the range
third
2.
If you have the weapon.
Yeah.
And then your Warband also has the barbs and nets, where if you can hit someone with a melee attack and they move, they take a damage. So then it's like you basically have, that horrible choice of like, hey, if you want to move, that's fine. I get a ping. And that might mean your fighter just dies, which then it's like you literally can't move.
Yeah.
So like this weird power deck thing where it's like you can play really hard control with these guys because you've got a way to hand out 3+ move tokens and lock fighters down from being able to move if you can land some hits.
And by the way, you got Skittering Blur and Paths Unknown as a power card, which says like, hey, can't attack assassins and can't attack this particular fighter. And so you really dictated a lot of my actions to me, where I was just like, okay, well, I hope I have something productive to do that is not attacking this guy that is like really important,
Yeah.
So it bought a number of your fighters, because I was lucky early on with some damage. I put a fair amount of damage onto some of your assassins early on, and it took me a very long time to finish them off, just because I wasn't allowed to target them for such a long time.
Yeah. So there's something here with this power deck, I think, just because it's like kind of cool control. I don't know if this is the right warband for it, but it feels a little bit neat. But anyway, so yeah, it was like, yeah, your leader could have been in danger, But like you put so much damage on Snipe right away, and he was basically just out. And then it was like, well, I guess it's all down to the leader. And then he starts trying to do anything.
And is missing.
Yeah, he missed the charge. Then I started the next round. I think I was able to pull you adjacent to me and try and make free attacks, but that missed. And then you drove me away. And then I had like 3 damage on me because you hit with Grievous. So it's like, okay, now my leader's almost dead, and I've already burned my stuff to keep you from attacking me. So, just kind of all went sideways.
And this was what was interesting from my side of things is like you're always, well, I'd say you, for me, I'm always like operating with the assumption that like the worst case scenario is about to happen, right? So I'm like, all right, like I am having to come up to the right up into against neutral territory, because that's where in my idiocy I put the treasure tokens to help you out. But that's where I got to come to be on the treasure and then to be united, because those are the 2 things that I'm trying to do, right?
Yep.
And so now I'm right up against it, and Alarn is up there, and you haven't burned the Jaws snap. Yeah,
something like that,
which is a push there, and I'm very cognizant of like, if Phil triggers that, then he can drag me to neutral, and then once he's done that, he can drive me further into his territory, into an edge, because we were over on one side, and it's like I might give up 3 just because I'm hanging out here, and so I was burning power cards like hold the line, not because I need to stay on treasure, just because like. I need a chance to like not get driven further. I need a chance to retreat back into my territory. So just, again, like you're talking about those super interesting interactions with, a particular warband and a particular deck pairing where, I will probably not have that specific situation again where I'm like, hey, he's got a war scroll push and I'm worried about getting pushed into his edge and, like all that sort of thing, like come together. And that's, that I know our game ended up, kind of one-sided at the end of it, but all through the middle of it, I was like, this feels certainly losable if he's got the cards that he needs and I play things wrong.
Yeah. And thinking back through some of the middle part of round 2, where I did have a lot of attacks lined up with Skittershank, it was like, I'm coming in like 3 or 4 dice with Grievous. Yeah. And that could just mean that I hit you, barb you, and then I'm away with like synchronized effort or something, or sidestep, and you're now stuck in this position where it's like, I kind of need to use the alarm, but if I move him, he's down to 1 health, and then he can just be picked off by any of these ranged rats. So it's like, it really was, there was probably a tipping point where it's like, if something goes a little better for me, the game feels very different. Yeah. Despite the scores being pretty disparate at the end.
Yeah. And I think you were stuck looking at, I think you mentioned that you had, was it team effort or something like
I had
that?
Double team in my opening hand, thinking like, oh, I'll be able to set this up. Yeah. And it's like, oh, nope, because I can't flank you.
Yeah.
Just at all. Because you're not in my territory. And then every time I tried to like push you into my territory, you would very quickly push yourself back out because because why wouldn't you, right? I mean, you've got sidestep, you've got confusion, you've got like the tools to just make it so that I can't get you in my territory. And, that as we discussed in the previous episode, that is the downfall of trying to play hunting grounds. Like you have to find some way to force your opponent into your territory, and there was 0. I mean, that's sort of the double whammy, which I guess we didn't talk about, of like having to play hunting grounds with a warband that no one wants anything to do with.
Yeah. And for me, it was, when I was doing those pushes away from you, I was kind of double service, where I was like, look, at a minimum, I'm going to prevent him from having flanked to increase his accuracy on this attack. But what I might also be doing is preventing back off. Like I might be stopping him from pushing me from one territory to another. And I might also be stopping, one of his flank surges. And like, there's all these different things that might be trigger on this. So like I'm getting some benefit but I might be getting lots of benefit, and we'll just see how that plays out, and it being good. So
yeah.
But again, it was like even though I think, what did you describe it as, the hardest of hard modes?
Yeah, it was rough.
Because the matchup itself was hard, and then you had like pretty rough dice kicking off, but I think you and I probably both agree on this, is that what makes the game good is that we got to like experience some interactions in the game that we've never seen before. Think about the game in ways that we have not had to think about before, because we were using pairings and we were using warbands and decks that were connected in a way that we haven't before. And that's what gives the game the depth that makes it something we return to again and again.
Absolutely. And basically I sort of immediately with having the experience of like, so what's the worst case scenario with this deck that I built? Kind of went back to the drawing board and was like, well, if I just build this to be as optimal as possible, I'm probably not really taking that many objectives from hunting grounds, because that's not what the warband wants to be doing.
Right.
And
I think you and I talked about this a little bit, and I'm interested to hear about this.
We mentioned sort of in our post-game talk of like, really what I should be doing is kind of just playing the rats thing, using Trial of the Tempered, using, like I already talked about, risky position, putting a movable in, I think is actually solid, because there's going to be times where like your dodge is just good enough to keep you from getting killed.
Sure.
Plus you can run death throws, which I was already doing, make somebody's attack really, really inaccurate against somebody. And then behind enemy lines isn't amazing, but like if you just run onto a token in enemy territory with a tempered assassin, you could pretty much guarantee it.
Sure.
And if you don't have a tempered assassin, if you're the underdog, you still have paths unknown to potentially force it.
Yep.
And your opponent just may not care to go after one of your little nothing rats. So
I mean, I've found I was playing the Vassal League, and I was running Emberstone Rack with Gardeners, but running up against Starblood, who are also on Emberstone, and they would like charge onto something. I was like, man, I'm in a bad position. Like the best I can do is like a 3-sword, just a straight up 3-sword attack, but I'm almost positive you got Sally Forth I have to try, so sometimes you just are able to make that, same with you. Like you might make that charge, be like, hey, I'm sitting here on 2 dodge. Like you can try to nudge me off, unless you got some extra accuracy help. It may not happen, and I'll just score it,
Yeah.
Not Sally Forth in your case, but
similar idea behind enemy lines, which is really similar, but it's you don't need to be charged. You have to be tempered.
Yeah.
And then I realized to go along with all the stuff from Edge, you can run back off, which again, you still have to drive an enemy fighter into a different territory, but like you can kind of set that up by fighting near the midline. Hands off is territory agnostic. It doesn't care. It just says after a friendly fight is attacked, the target was on a feature token and was driven back.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even have to succeed. You could tie and just drive somebody off. And then if your opponent really doesn't want to come to you, you can run This Is Our Turf, because then if they don't come to you at all, it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
And then you just keep lead by example, because like it's not amazing, but if you can set it up, it's 2 glory as an end phase, and like stretch end phases are fine.
Sure.
I think it's probably more reliable than pinned. You could probably try to run pinned and trial, but I think that's the kind of asking for trouble.
Yeah, I think the interesting, because we were best of one, you and I. We didn't play more than one, and so I played as if you had Trial of the Tempered. So I had Healing Potion in hand, and I sat on it for a long time, just to be like, all right, whichever one of my guys like that I can recover and like make untempered, that's the one I'm going to spend it on. because all the way through early round 3, I was like, it might come down to whether Phil scores tempered or not, and then it got a little like lopsided from there, where you missed a bunch and I hit a bunch. But for a while there, it was like, I think this might be the difference. So even just even we talk about like a given pairing, and just you didn't have tempered anywhere in the deck, but I was still playing against it. So
because you almost have to, right? I mean,
100%. Yeah, exactly. And I think if you were rebuilding, I 100% think that's like something you find room for, just because it gives you an alternate thing to do. Like, hey, they're not coming to me. The leader is hiding. Like, maybe I can just get enough damage on enough people to like get this 3 glory end phase or something like that.
Yeah. So anyway, not to spend so much more time on my deck, but I did think the Rat's Nest was sort of a fun like play on hunting grounds with the rats, but
the
name might work better with Spike Claw Swarm, because they might pair up better with just dangling little nothing rats and just being like, I'm just going to sit back here with my leader and ignore you. But anyway, any other thoughts after this experience?
No, other than the fact that I just like really enjoyed it. I thought it was super fun.
It was super fun.
Along the same lines as this Hexodus thing I'm back on again, is just like, hey, let me run something that I'm not otherwise running. Let me learn something about the game from an angle that I haven't like tried very much before. And so it was good. And with that, I'll give like a secondary shout out to back to Vintro's Staggerers with the challenge decks. If you want to do this, also I think we can probably get Zach to. I mean, really, it's just all you need is a random number generator to create your deck pairing. So it's not like you actually need anything.
I would say some dice, but there's too many warbands for that.
Yeah. I mean, you can literally like put them in a spreadsheet and randomize, or just have a 1 through, what are we at, 48, 49, something like that. And just say, hey, give me a number, and then do that same for decks. And if you got me, maybe you're somebody who's like, you play once a week and you play the same person every time. Like the next time you play, you do this. And I think there's a lot of mileage of this. I would do this many more times, and I think I would enjoy it.
And as someone who just enjoys building decks, sometimes getting told like, hey, I need you to build a deck with these 2 things. I don't care if they go together or not. It's like, oh, okay, yep, let's figure this one out. Is there a way that I can actually make this work? And like I said, there's some kind of fun synergy with these 2 decks, which I never would have guessed. So
same. All right. I think that's going to do it for us. We're going to sign off here. If you want to talk to us, if you have tried something like this, if you have tried the challenge decks from Staggerers, if you are interested in doing your own randomization, go ahead and talk to us. You can do that at our Discord. We got lots of folks chatting there. It's been pretty fun. Or you can talk to me and the crew at whatthehexcast@gmail.com. If you are interested in Age of Sigmar at large, you can look at any of the Age of Sigmar games at themortalrealms.com. We want to say thanks to all our patrons and all the people who take part in the Discord. The Free Guild, I think, is our level that has their own hangout, but kind of make some of the things we do a little bit easier. And as we've said for the past several episodes, really thanks for the help making it possible to provide coverage. We were going to do it regardless, but it was validating to see how many people it was important to for them to reach out. For sure. We should say that coming up, we're going to take a look at some of our options. We don't have something locked in just yet. We're wondering if we're going to get, or we're still mystery. We don't know if there's a release coming. So maybe something will drop and we'll cover that. Otherwise, we will surprise you with our next one. We don't have anything locked in. But before we lock in something else, we have to lock in a Flavitex quiz. So, Phil, You are unfortunately on the chopping block once again.
I have it no other way.
My only hint for you is that this is a card that was in one of our decks.
I had hoped that would be the case.
All right. This one is actually attributed to somebody. I feel like I've done a lot that we're not. This one is attributed to Golgotch the Butcher.
Oh, okay.
Do you already know it?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'd like you to actually read the quote.
All right. I just checking. What's my best Golgotch voice? I feel like I'll have to.
Welcome to my garden, little flies.
And I will say he's saying this to somebody who you would never say little flies to.
Yeah.
Like in a million years.
Yeah. I feel like you probably picked Ready or Not because I happened to actually score it, and that's probably never happened in the history of the game.
You are 100% correct. One of our favorite things is after this is like, hey, Skyler, you'll never guess what Two Glory of Hexodus got.
He hates this card with a passion and thinks that it's utter trash, which it probably is, but I did manage to score it, so I can always...
It is. Yeah, it is funny. I think in certain matchups, in certain situations, it's actually not as hard as it seems. So
no, yeah. I mean, if your opponent's aggressive and they want to come to you, like you can make it happen. But in a lot of matchups, it is just like totally dead. And as Davey alluded to, the fighter that he is calling Little Fly is the Gore Hulk.
Possibly like the biggest bulk fighter. Like,
yeah,
if you talk pure volume,
like it's a close race probably between him and Moloch. So
yeah. pretty great.
Yeah.
Good card. A good quote, maybe not good card.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that same theme, your recommended listening is a track by the Fugees, and this is Ready or Not. For What the Hex, I've been Davey.
And I've been Phil.
I'm sorry. Would you repeat that?
Yeah, I got you.
I talked right over you on accident and
no, you're good.
Created the one editing moment for Davey that's going to be in here. Sorry, Davey.
Okay. Yeah, we don't usuly do this. There's a lot of podcasts that do like, hey, we're going to take a break, and they cut back. And I'm curious about what exactly that provides them, other than like easy edit points or whatever.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Come on, advertisers, get on board. We've been recording for such a long time. There's literally dozens of listeners. All right.
Last night was rough.